All right, good evening, guys. Welcome to our fifth installment for the Career Insider. Okay, if you are watching it for the first time, Career Insider is a series of live stream. We do it once a week if we can. So what we do is we look into different types of career, and then we interview people from that career, expert from that career, and we dissect the entire career by asking lots of interesting questions. And we are also going to be taking on questions from each and every one of you. Okay, so if this is our first time watching, welcome. And how are you doing? All right. So my name is Brian, and I'm from Study Hub Student Advisory. And if you have been watching us, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful few months during this MCO. I know a lot of students are going back to school already, but nonetheless, Study Hub and JS Study Solutions, we are still going to organize more and more live talks and on different various kind of careers. All right. So we would actually love to know who are you, where are you from. Okay. If you are a student, okay, please let me know if you are a student by typing in the comment section number one. Okay, just type number one if you are a student. Okay, disregarding if you are a high school student or you are a college or university student, let me know. Okay, so if you are a teacher, okay, because we believe there are some teachers who's going to be interested on tonight's topic as well. If you are a teacher, please type number two. All right, let us know. What are you? Where are you from? If you are a teacher, please type number two. All right, and if you are a parent, okay, if you are a parent, you have a child currently studying, please type number three. Right. Um, so for let me just repeat myself again. So if you are student project number one, if you are teacher number two, and if you are a parent, type number three. All right. So wow, thank you so much for all of your response. So we have most of you, in fact, all of you here are one. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's a Thursday night. I know it's heading towards the weekend already. And if you are still in school, school is starting next week. Are you excited? I sure am. I hope everything goes well and everything is under control. Wow, so many of you are students. Okay, that's awesome. So tonight's session is going to be super chill, super casual. Okay, if you have any questions, um, please feel free to ask it off in the comment section below. Okay, just like how you just type one. Okay, just ask your questions in the comment section below. If you don't feel comfortable asking it in English, you can always type in Malay or you can always type in Mandarin as well. So we can handle this three language: English, Mandarin, or Malay. All right. So what we want to do is to have a very meaningful conversation with all of you because tonight's topic is super interesting and it's very relevant to what is currently happening right now. We are all at home. At least most of us are at home because of the MCO due to the pandemic, right? And I know all of you are here because you want to listen from the our guest speaker tonight. All right. His name is Lim Boon Chuan. Okay, I call him Boon. Boon is from Malaysia. He's from KL. He used to study in Zhonghua, Jilongpo Zhonghua, Zhonghua, Kuala Lumpur. And then he went to KTU to do his A levels, and then he went to University of Edinburgh, got his degree in biotech, and then he continued to further his study into synthetic biology, okay, and PhD in synthetic biology. And he is part of the team of scientists who's researching on a rapid diagnostic test kit for COVID-19. And with what they are doing is successful, it's potentially going to save millions of lives right now. As we know, and as you have heard the news, there is a risk of a certain risk in some countries. There may be second wave coming, right? And we really do not want to see the second wave coming, because historically in every pandemic, the second wave is always going to hit harder than ever, right? We hope it's not going to happen. Yeah, let's have a super chill 1 hour session with us here tonight. And of course, if you have been watching us, the usual drill, please help us to share the stream out. Let as many people know as possible, your juniors, your seniors, your friends. They need to watch this, because this Malaysian is doing something very meaningful right now in Oxford, where he's studying his PhD in synthetic biology. And it's part of the scientist team who is doing a research on a rapid diagnostic kit to detect COVID-19, all right? So show some love and support by sharing the stream out. Let more people know, okay? We need to let your schoolmates know. We need to let all of your friends know, okay? So how did I know Boon? Actually, I don't know him in person, to be frankly honest, right? I saw his article 2 weeks ago from NST, and then it got picked up by SAYS, World of Buzz. They were talking about this Malaysian in Oxford doing something, right? So I thought it was interesting. I tried Googling him up. I tried Facebooking, and then I found him on Facebook. I added him and I sent him a private chat, and I asked him, hey, I will be interested to share with students here tonight on next Thursday. And then he said, yeah, cool, happy to share, without a doubt. All right. So we're really grateful to be able to hold this conversation. We hope it's going to be interactive. If you have any questions, remember to leave your questions at the comment section below. All right. So without further ado, I know we can't clap, okay, but please show us lots of likes and loves for Boon Chuan.
Hello.
Hi, Boon Chuan.
Hello. Do I need to introduce myself?
Yeah.
I'm Boon. So this is actually not my lab. This is one of the lab that we work in. It's actually not the typical biological lab, as you can see, but it's just a nice background, and I get good internet connection here, so I was using just coming here.
Yeah, thank you so much for spending your time with us here. I believe that you are in the UK right now, and you are in the middle of the day. You're supposed to do your work, right?
Yeah, well, it's 1 p.m. over here.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure my boss will call me afterwards to check on stuff.
Okay.
We have time.
I hope you inform him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So maybe you can share a little bit about yourself. When you were in Malaysia, you studied just like every other Malaysian, and you went to college just like every other Malaysian, and then you went to Edinburgh, right? You did biotechnology. And even in your PhD, you are currently doing synthetic biology, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just another name for biotech. And
yeah, kind of.
yeah. Why did you fall in love with biotechnology? What's your side of the story, man?
Well, so I don't really think I have like a good long story about what I stick with biotechnology, why I choose biotech in the first place. So yeah, like you mentioned, I studied in Zhonghua, Zhuzhong, Jilongbo Zhonghua Zhuzhong, and then I didn't do UEC for my Form 6. I left after I finished my SPM. I go to KDU for A levels. I picked science, the 3 sciences and mathematics. And then I applied for university through UCAS. So I know there's some college student at the moment, and you probably, I'm not sure how A level is going to be taking place now. But if it's the usual stuff, you probably need to submit your UCAS application at the end of last year so that you can start university this year. So I go through the same thing, right? And then when I was applying for my undergrad degree through UCAS, I was actually picking medicine instead of biotech. So why medicine? Well, for me, it's so I have to say my result is always quite good. I'm not going to deny about that. It's not boasting. I do get good results. So to be fair, I don't really know what I want to do. And I was thinking like, well, I got good results, what else, what other things, other than medicine, I should definitely go for medicine, right? If I got good result, I should go for it. So I applied for medicines, just like everyone else. I wrote my personal statement, applied through UCAS, and funny enough, I didn't get into any medical school, right? I actually got rejected by all 4 medical schools that I applied to. And I actually got into Edinburgh doing biotechnology through UCAS clearing. So if you don't know what UCAS clearing is basically, after the whole application cycle, there are still some slots in different university, and then they couldn't find. I mean, they need to find people to fill in those slots, so they put all the courses into UCAS clearing, so you can actually apply through UCAS clearing if you don't get the option that you want, which is what I go through. And thinking back, it's kind of a blessing in disguise. I've been doing well. Been getting to know more about biology, biological sciences, medical tech, biotech, and then I finished my degree. I know I want to stay in science-related career, and for me to do so, for me to hold a higher positions in the scientific field, I do think I would need a PhD, a doctorate. That's why I started applying to PhD. I actually only start applying to PhD at the end of my degree, because just like everyone else, I didn't know what I want to do while I was doing my degree. Yeah. So for me, I have to say, a lot of things happened, and I was quite lucky for everything that happened. It kind of fall into places, even though, most of the time, thing doesn't go as planned, but eventually it all fall into places. So I'm grateful for that.
Thank you. I mean, that's great insight from you. But I think you missed out something, Boon Chuan. Your SPM, you got 9A+, which is why you left without UEC to do A levels.
That is
right?
So before I made the decision to left after SPM, before the result is out. So I remember the result is normally out around February. And after you finish SPM, you kind of need to make the decisions whether you want to leave or not. And then I used my SPM trial result to apply for like scholarship in college, and then got into A levels. So I think I made the change from leaving independent high school just because to change an environment, because I know I suck in speaking English by that time. I suck in writing. So I want to improve on that. So I picked somewhere, it's more diverse, there are more people speaking English to train myself, to put myself out there, to get used to the habit of speaking English. So I think that's the main reason why I left Zhonghua.
Yeah. And of course, 9A+. I think that was back in 2014, right?
2011.
2011. Oh yeah. Okay. 2011. If ladies and gentlemen, if you do not know, back then in 2011, 9A+ is a automatic JPA scholarship from pre-U to degree.
Yeah,
congratulations. And then
I think I was the second batch.
All right.
And
okay.
2 more batches is gone. I was. It's really lucky. This is why I'm very fortunate.
That's right. Okay. So I mean the Malaysian government supported you to go abroad. Yeah, and you're doing us proud right now, which is very interesting. Yeah. So maybe you can share a little bit about how did you get yourself into Oxford? And I thought after degree you're supposed to do masters first, right? Oh, well, yeah. What happened? You get to PhD right away.
So the PhD system in UK is a bit different from other places, but I think there are more university around the world that is introducing this system. You don't necessarily need a master degree to get into PhD, and a lot of students in UK do that. A lot of my friends, they also finish a degree and then go straight into PhD. You can go through a master's just like usual, but you can also, if your result is good enough, if you have enough experience, you show, if you go through all the interview and stuff, you can go directly into PhD, which saves you a lot of time and money. Yeah. The question is why? How do I get into Oxford? So yeah, I didn't plan on. So I only start planning to apply to PhD positions in my final year of university undergrad. That was not a good idea. If anyone is in the degree right now, if you're thinking about applying for a PhD, it's best to do, in your penultimate year before you finish. The 1 year before you finish, start looking around, like what sort of option you have, what sort of university or courses or that you're more interested in. Start doing those research. Don't leave it until the end of your degree. Why? Because for me personally, if you want to go into a PhD, I will assume you already have an idea what you want to do in terms of research. So PhD is not about studying. I don't need to go to classes. Well, I can if I want. So I can go to like seminar and stuff if that interests me. But I don't, there's no classes, there's no nothing. Everything is about doing research work, right? You have a research topic and then you need to answer the research question. So that's what you do. In that sense, it's quite free in a way. There's only a few person above you, which is supervisors, or we call it PIs. PIs is principal investigators. So they look after you. They oversee your project. They oversee your research activities. So you only need to report to them. Other than that, you're all on your own, right? You're gonna find your own questions. You're gonna do your own thing. You're gonna set your own milestone. Of course, there are things in place to help you to achieve milestones or set milestones. They're not pushing you into the sea and let you swim on your own. There are guidelines. There are support to help you go through that. But most of the time, you need to know. You need to have an idea what you want to do. So if you don't, it's good to start. Have a thing. By around the end of your degree.
Yeah.
Apply. So the PhD in Oxford. So most PhD, there are a couple of different ways to apply for PhD. The one that I applied to is a PhD program. So basically I need to go through 2 rounds of interview. The first round is with the department. The second round is like with potential supervisor and stuff. So it's just like a first date. You need to go for the date and talk to the person and see whether, because it's not just you choosing them. It's not just they choosing you.
That's right.
At some degree, it's about you choosing them as well. Because if you talk to the supervisor and you're going to work with him or her for the next 3 to 4 years, if you don't like him or her, by the time you sit down to talk to her, you probably doesn't want to work with them, right? So it's good to scout, go branch out, talk to different supervisors, talk to different universities, and get a sense. Because when I was doing that, I don't really know what I actually want to do as well. I know I want to go into like biotech, synthetic biology. We can talk more about that later. I know the broad theme that I want to go into, but the specific project, you need to talk to different people and get more idea what is it about.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are just tuning in, welcome to today's live. We are talking about career in scientific research, as you can see in the title, and I'm speaking to Lim Boon Chuan. He's a PhD candidate on synthetic biology in University of Oxford, and he's also part of the research scientist team researching on the COVID-19 rapid diagnostic kit. So, Boon Chuan, I'm just really curious, right? As you mentioned earlier, PhD you don't have to go to classes. It's not like a conventional degree or master's. There are not much theoretical learnings or books, tutorials that you have to attend or lectures you have to attend, right? But it's more on research. Can you describe a day in the life of a scientific researcher, for the benefit of our audiences here today?
Okay. So no, I first have to emphasize a disclaimer. A day in life is different from person to person. What I do, so what my friend do, my friend do might be different from everyone else as well. Eventually, you find your own rhythm. Don't listen to random stranger on internet. Eventually, you need to experience yourself and know what is the best for yourself. Okay,
That's right.
so for me, well, at the moment I'm mostly working on the rapid diagnostic kit project. The university is closed. If you don't have a permit to work, you can't come in. But before that, so my day-to-day, weekdays, Monday to Friday, I go to the lab about, in the morning, I left around evening, just like working time. Most of the time, there are, well, three main things to do, right? The first thing is design an experiment. First, when it comes to design experiment, is you need first to research what sort of question you're asking, and then whether have anyone, in the world done this experiment already, done this project already, have this question been answered? If it is, then it's not like there's no point for you to do it. If it is, then it saves you a lot of time, before you move forward to the next step. So a lot of times is sitting in front of a computer, read through a lot of research papers, journal articles, a lot of that. Once you set up, once you have an idea what is not being answered yet, then you need to start planning what sort of experiment you need to do in order to answer those questions. Then plan out, then I need to go to the lab, something like this, but a little bit different. Then you need to work out my experiments, do the experiments, and then get the results. And after you get the results, most of the time you need to analyze the data. So there are a lot of different kind of raw data, right? There are numbers, there are images, there are figures, all those kind of things. You need to analyze it to make it something presentable or something that that is easy for everyone to understand, right? From then, normally there will be new questions coming out or new problems coming out during the time you are doing your experiments, and then it's all about problem solving and troubleshooting. Try to figure out what goes wrong, what goes right. Okay, sometimes you don't know why it goes right, and sometimes you don't know why it goes wrong. Yeah. And then again, it's a lot about reading what has been done before. If it hasn't been done, then you need to do it yourself. Yeah, it's a repeating process of that. But the new question coming out every day, and then as a PhD student, one good and bad thing about PhD student is that, and especially in places like Oxford, you get exposed to a lot of different interesting projects. Because like I say, as a PhD student, you are in charge of what you want to do, right? You plan your own experiment, and then you get, so for me, like, I would tell my supervisor, I want to do this. He will say, okay, you can do that. Maybe you can even try this. This might be easier for you. Or he will say, well, I don't think it's a good idea. And then I will argue why this is a good idea. Okay, it's about a lot about good through and forth, back and forth. But at the same time, other than my own project, being in an environment like this, or actually most of the academic environment, you get a lot of people, friends that you know from like other labs or from other departments. They will ask you a question about, Boon, do you know about this? Have you tried this? And then I'll be like, oh, this is interesting questions. Let's try doing this. And if you get something out of it, it could be a publication, it could be another new patent. There's a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
Other than your research project.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of crossovers with other specialization, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So, Boon, I think you did not mention what's your research topic for your PhD. Yeah.
So my initial research topic. So maybe we can talk a little bit about synthetic biology. What is synthetic biology, right? So synthetic biology. You can understand it as just another term for biotech. There are biotech, there are genetic engineering, there's synthetic biology. They're all the same, but actually they're a little bit different here and there. So synthetic biology, you can understand it as the engineering of biology.
Right.
So what is engineering? So engineering is about building stuff, right? Like building machine, building robotics, building stuff. So because we know enough about biological system, and when I say biological system, I'm talking about protein, DNA, all those kind of stuff. We are building, say, new biological machinery to perform new function. So to give you an example, right? This is an interesting one. So we heard a lot about genetic engineering, and especially in the past 5 years, I'm not sure if people heard about CRISPR before. So CRISPR is, say, probably the breakthrough of biotech in the 21st century. So it makes genetic engineering super easy. Like you can edit a gene very easily using a CRISPR system. And funny enough, what is a CRISPR system? CRISPR system is actually come from the bacteria immune system. So if you think about it, like who the hell will go study an immune system of bacteria, right? And who the hell will come up with, using a bacteria immune system to edit gene? So those linkage, those linkage actually come from a lot of theoretical study, a lot of basic research before the whole industry or a whole scientific sector of synthetic biology comes out. And because of all these tools available, like the CRISPR system, it makes building new biological function easier. And that's what we are doing.
Interesting.
And,
yeah. And your topic?
Okay. And my topic, I digress. My initial topic is actually to build a bacterial biosensor to detect diseases. So, for example, we know yeast, right? We know yeast. We know small bacteria around environment. We know bacteria is everywhere. Okay, they're good bacteria. They're bad bacteria. They're bacteria in your stomach. They're bacteria everywhere. So. A cool thing about bacteria is they're very small, and at the same time they can detect a lot of different stuff. Why? Because they need to survive, and then they need to run away from the toxin, just like human.
Okay.
The way we do it is we are trying to use probiotic, which is bacteria that you find in the yogurt, and we use them to make it into medicine, right? To make it into medicine, or to make it into a diagnostic, biorobot to detect diseases. Okay, that is the general team. But because of I'm switching, most of my time to the COVID-19 project, so I might just incorporate a part of that into my final thesis. Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes.
On the COVID-19 project, right?
Yeah, because it's the kind of COVID-19 project is also about detection, about diagnostic.
Right.
It's somehow relevant. It's not really relevant, but but in the broader themes, broader point of view, it's kind of relevant.
Interesting. Maybe Buchuan, you can share with us, how did you come across and got involved into this part of a research team? Was there like an interview search, for the top biotechnologist in Oxford to be part of the team? We can enlighten us here. Yeah.
No, yeah, sorry. The short answer is no. There's no interview whatsoever.
Yeah.
Okay, so my supervisor is a Chinese. So Oxford has a research center that is built in China. It's called in Suzhou. It's called OSCAR. So this project actually started around early February, late January, when the outbreak is most serious in China. So my supervisors, together with another supervisors, they want to do something, to help China, basically. And then they started this project. Because I was in my group, my research group is always doing something relevant to like diagnostic, detection. So we're like, okay, we can do something for that. So project started. Why I was being involved? Because initially, so I'm not the only PhD student in my group. There are a couple. During that time, I'm the most free. I was waiting for some experiment to be done. I don't have a lot of things to do. And then my boss, my supervisor just asked me like, oh, do you want to help a little bit with the project? And then I was like, yeah, cool, sure. Initially we thought, okay, this probably just going to be like a 2 weeks to a month project. And then we need to go back to our work. But then in March, it's suddenly become more serious in the Europe rather than in Asian countries. And that's also when we have the first it's not discovery. We had the first paper being published. Say, okay, we can use this method to detect the virus rapidly, and it suddenly got a lot of attention, which means there are a lot of workload coming in. There are people asking about, okay, when can we order this? When can we buy this? I'm, during the past few months, there are a lot of people asking me as well, like, can we buy this? Can we buy that? But about that, maybe I can talk a bit about that as well. About whether we start selling our kits already. Short answer is no, because essentially we are a research entity, right? We are a university. Myself, my role in the team is a research scientist, right?
Yeah.
We can go more into what the techniques about, but in terms of selling stuff, not at the moment. But just last week, we have just formed a social enterprise out of university to commercialize the stuff that we have been doing, and hopefully we can get something out very soon. Because when it comes to diagnostic, a lot of countries are opening up now, right? It's opening up, university opening up, and actually during this time, the demand for diagnostic kits surge. So we have a lot of inquiries. So we want to do something, and we believe we can do something as well. So we are forming a social enterprise to deal with all the business side of things.
I see. So are there plans to distribute all around the world, or it's just going to be in the UK?
Yeah, I think as a business entity, then you definitely want to distribute all around the world. And we are planning to distribute all around the world as well, because initially this project is to help China. So it's definitely including all the Asian countries. But it's not up for me to decide, right? And especially when it comes to like business, I don't have any say, and I don't want to have any say. Okay, so I'm just trying to make the product better and to let more people be able to use it.
Because you are a research scientist, right? And what you are good at is to, making sure that the errors of the outcome are low, and leave the business side of things to your Oxford Business School.
Yeah,
colleagues,
exactly.
Right? That's right. Yeah. So how's the progress of this task kit right now? I mean, we are still in the middle of the pandemic, and we see some countries' numbers are exploding. Even though I know Malaysia, we are doing really well right now.
Malaysia is doing really well.
Yeah.
Compared to a lot of countries.
Yeah. I mean, how's the progress right now? Yeah.
How the progress right now? So. I would say we do have the first product, the first version of the product that we would be ready. But it's different when it comes to doing lab work and doing manufacturing work, right? We need suppliers. We need there are a lot of parties involved. The plan, actually, I'm not entirely sure about the plan, but we do have the first product ready to be distributed very soon. And in fact, so we are so for all our clinical works, we are actually working with the hospitals around Oxford. So they're already in place. So the next stage is like dealing with university, museum, buildings, companies, even governments in other countries. So with that the amount, the quantity that's required just booming. It is huge. That is something that we can't handle. So we definitely need a lot of like partners to help us to do that as well.
Okay, meaning the task kit is there's a ready first iteration of the product. You mean that, right?
Yeah.
And it's just waiting for some form of announcement. Are you all planning to make any announcement? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are just tuning in to watch our live stream tonight, we are talking about career in scientific research, and I'm speaking to Boon Chuan. He's a Malaysian student studying in University of Oxford, doing PhD in synthetic biology, and he's also part of the research scientist team. Who's currently doing research on the rapid diagnostic kit for COVID-19. So we have a couple of message here from students, right? So Yanchi Tan asks, how much time have you saved for going straight into PhD after degree? Okay, so I think we just lost Boon.
I'm back.
Oh wow. What happened?
No, I clicked the something and then it just gone out. But anyway.
Okay, no worries. So the question is from Yanchi, and the question is, how much time have you saved for going straight into PhD? Yeah.
What does it mean? How much time
have you saved? And I think what she meant is how long will master take if you don't go straight to PhD?
So master normally lasts for 1 to 2 years. It depends. There are thought master, which is a bit like undergrad. You go through a lot of lectures again. There are research master, which is normally 2 years, where you do research project. Okay. For me, I didn't go through both, but I finished my degree in Edinburgh in 2016, June 2016. I started my PhD in 2017 September. So during that 1 year period, I was actually working in. I was first working in the lab I was used to working in Edinburgh, and then I also interned in Appendov Malaysia. Appendov is a biotech company. They had distribution help in Malaysia. I was working there, pretty cool. And then I take a break for a while, and then I start my PhD. So how much time I save? I don't know. I have in 1 year empty doing a lot of different stuff, and then I start.
But I think the process of acquiring knowledge is not about how much time you are going to save, right? So if you're talking about saving time, I think Boon Chuan could have done even faster, meaning on his final year he start applying for PhD, right? And you can go in right away. So I mean, Yan Chi, we hope you we answered your questions. So if, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, feel free to leave your question at the comment section, and we will try to answer each and every one of you. Okay, and we hope to make these conversations today really interactive and very so we try to answer all of the doubts you have about scientific research. All right, we have a comment from James, and James has a message for Boon Chuan. It says, wishing you and team a success for the great benefits of mankind. And he's proud of you.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
All right. So let's take one more question. All right. And then we will jump right back into our discussion. So Carmen has a question. Carmen Lee asks, can you tell me more about biotechnology? What's this course learning about? I think Carmen, perhaps maybe are you a high school student? Are you still in SPM or O levels? Can you perhaps let us know in the comment section? So Boon, what is biotech?
Biotech. So I think a lot of people confuse biotech with like bioengineering. So so when we talk about biotech, or even when we talk about synthetic biology, we are doing tinkering, we're doing engineering in the biological system, in the cell. So in micro or nano scales. We're not dealing with machine, we're not dealing with robotics, we're not dealing with all those stuff. We're dealing with pipette, which is like a syringes, we're dealing with liquid solutions, with all chemicals, all of stuff, right? We're not dealing with machineries or engineering. It's not engineering, real engineering. So biotech is about how do you make use of biological system, right? A very common example, as I think is widely used, is about the malaria drugs being produced in yeast. Malaria drug atomycine, I think in 2010 or something, they found the whole pathway in the plant, and then they switched the whole genetic pathway from the plant into a yeast. And then you can produce that drug through brewing that yeast. So what does this mean? Like why does this matter? Okay, let me tell you why does this matter. If you need to plant your drugs, like when we need to get leaf, what do you need? You need seed, you need to put into the sand, you need to grow it for a year, you get to land, you get the plant, you get the leaf, and then you need to extract the molecule from that leaf. You need to do all of this. What does it mean when you get it into a yeast? When you get into a yeast, you put it into a bioreactor, you grow for 1.5 hours, you extract, you get what you want. You see the beneficial between these two things, right? But some interesting fact, maybe a bit not relevant to biotech. Why don't we hear about this great thing? It's been used around for biotech, but why don't people use it? Because when economics come in play, it's a bit different. Reality is a bit different. So so most of the plant, right, the atomycine, the plant where you get atomycine from, I think they grow in like African country or in tropical countries. These are their main source of income, right? if you remove all of them and put it into bioreactor, you remove, all sorts of income for these farmers and stuff.
That's
And
right.
because people know about the techniques, the price of artemisinin, the production cost of the artemisinin actually dropped to the point that putting it into a bioreactor doesn't worth that much anymore. So people switch back into growing it through a plant. So when you learn about all of this, if you're interested, you get to know more about things happening around the world, policy, economics, all those stuff. But yeah, short answer for biotech. That's the cool stuff.
Awesome. Wow. It's engineering in the micro level, in short, right? Yeah, awesome. So, Carmen, we hope it answers your question.
There are more examples. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no worries.
There are more examples, but we can, if you have time, we can talk more about it. I think
Yeah,
there are
no worries.
ideas around, and we should let people know about these things going on.
Yeah. All right. So, Carmen just finished her SPM. That's for
great.
information. Yes. Okay. Awesome. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. If you just finished your SPM, this session is going to help you a lot if you are interested in science. The next topic I would like to discuss with you, Boon, is actually related to one of the questions asked by our audience, right? Because we are doing research, right? And research is all about discovery. And I want to ask you, what if the discovery progress is really, really slow? I know PhD, there's 4 years, 3 to 4 years to complete your PhD, right? But what if it's really, really slow? And how do you know whether your question has been solved or not? That means your problem has been solved or not. There's a question by Kim Jun. Yeah.
Short answer: Google it. Nothing other than Google it. So other than Google, you have Google Scholar. So Google Scholar is basically you get information for like actual scientific journals or articles. As a layperson, if you are using public domain, you probably can't get access to a lot of journal. This is a stupid system because it's taxpayer money that fund all the research, but the taxpayer themselves or the children of taxpayer themselves, they can't get access to all this scientific results because they are published in a journal. So, but normally when you are in a university, they will subscribe to this journal where you can get access to all sort of different research article, journals, and all sort of different stuff where you get to see what is happening within that field, right? You Google it and then you see whether the answer pops out. If no, great, you got a good question to work on.
Okay. And what if you have a very interesting problem that you want to tackle? Something like your original topic, you want to detect disease, right? Using probiotics. So what if the progress is really slow? It's like it's not getting anywhere. Will you feel stressful?
Stressful, of course. I think, just not me. I'm pretty sure, all occupation or career, you will experience some stress, different level of stress. But as a researcher, as PhD students, that's why early on, before you even start your project, first thing they want you to do is lay out your milestones. Like, what do you want to achieve, and how do you going to achieve that? And that is not just a like a reporting system to tell people, oh, I'm going to do this. That is also about researching the back question, the question that has been answered. Like I said, there are a lot of things that has already been done, so there's probably not so much point for you to do it again. That's why while you are planning out your milestone, you basically need to understand what's happening around your field of interest.
That's right.
So by reading, get access to all those journals and stuff, articles, that you get a sense what has been done. And normally in articles, they will say like, okay, they do this. Future work should be da. Those are your starting point. That means this person, this author, hasn't started doing those stuff yet, or they experienced some problem in doing that, right? You can't expect to copy, what people. Normally you will repeat what the experiment that people do. You will repeat them, but that wouldn't be part of your thesis. That is not your work. So you need to come up with something that you are doing, and that is a process. It's also a learning process. It's something we are all learning as well. Whether it's a question worth asking, and whether this is a question worth answering.
Right. Interesting. And what do you do when you are stressful?
What do I do when I'm stressed? I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I spend most of my free time watching YouTube videos. I play some games as well.
Yeah.
And just like usual, I am not very different. My friends do this. I mean, it's just not even, it's not much different from anyone else. What I do on a daily basis.
Yeah, you don't memorize the Oxford Dictionary, don't you?
I don't. I can't remember the last time I have a Oxford Dictionary.
Just kidding. Okay, we have a question from Golden Leong. It's an interesting one, right? So Golden was asking, can you suggest any courses that are more suitable to create the medicine for cancer and other diseases like HIV and so on? I think, Golden Leong, are you heading towards college? Or you just completed your A levels? Let us know. Right. So, what's your take?
Yay. Interesting questions. Before I jump into the questions, we can first talk about, before you get to the stage, right? You're researching, you're finding the cure for cancer, you're finding the cure for HIV or for AIDS. Before you get to that stage, during your A levels, during your undergrad, this period is quite frustrating. Why? Because you're not generating any scientific output. You need to learn about a lot of fundamentals of why this disease happened in the first place.
Right.
So, and that includes a lot of memorizing facts, chugging in all the information in your head, just like going through SPM again, right? It's just that now just biology, okay?
Yeah.
You need to go through all of that for you to understand why this is a question worth asking, why this is a question worth answering. So go back to the questions. What courses do you need to know about researching, medicine for cancers and disease like HIV? What is cancer? Do you know what is cancer? Before you know what is cancer, you can't cure cancer. So you first need to understand the biology of cancers. Is caused by mutation in your cells. It's actually normal human cells that going through a couple of rounds of mutation that cause some problems in your protein in a lot of different systems that make it reproduce themselves uncontrollably into a mass that you get tumor, and then when these tumors go to other parts of the body that form cancers. Right? This is the process of cancer. Now you know the process of cancer. Which point can you go through? Which point can you stop to prevent that to become a cancer? Or which point can you stop to prevent cancer from happening?
Yeah.
This is why you need to understand all the facts in the first place, right? If you take the example of HIV, right? HIV is the virus that caused AIDS, right? So AIDS is a disease so HIV is a virus just like coronavirus, just like COVID-19. But HIV virus, a little bit different from COVID-19, is that HIV virus infect your immune system. So coronavirus go through your lungs, so it might infect your lung cells, around the tissues or cells along your lungs. But HIV is different because it's infecting into white blood cells, right? What does it mean when it infects into white blood cells? That means your immune system is screwed up. That means when you get disease that is normally all right for normal people, for you, if you have AIDS, that's a huge problem for you because your immune system is screwed up. Okay, but what I'm talking about is the symptom, is the outcome of having AIDS. For you to cure HIV, you need to understand how the virus behaves. There's a whole courses on like virology about what is HIV, how they infect the cells. So if you think about it, the place to stop AIDS from happening is probably to prevent HIV to enter your immune cell in the first place. So how do you prevent HIV to infect your immune cell? There are a lot of different ways to do it. You need to go figure it out. Yeah.
So what kind of course allows you to learn
what kind of course a lot.
Yeah.
So
Like your degree, like so. Do you learn this in your biotechnology degree?
I can't remember much about my biotechnology degree.
Okay.
No, we definitely go through that because otherwise, either I read. So when you go through a degree, right, you get to choose a lot of the different electives, like different courses.
Right.
Yeah. So biology is a big umbrella. There's genetic, there's virology, there's protein, there's DNA. All those different stuff. You get to pick electives you're interested in, and then you go through it, and then you understand it, right?
Yeah.
And when it comes to diseases, biology, we like to think that, at the end, biology is all about curing diseases, saving human lives. So if you want to achieve this, objectives, you need to learn a lot. Okay. Yeah. What I'm saying just now is just how the virus behave.
Yeah.
In order to stop this virus, what do you need to know? There are much more. For example, the protein within the virus, how do you stop that? Because there might be one molecule that can stop the particular protein within the virus, then you can stop the whole disease. But does it mean you are killing that virus? Not necessary. So there are a lot of different things to learn. And for you to, if you go through a biological degree, you get to choose different electives that get you exposed to all this stuff.
Right.
Okay?
So I hope that answers your question. So when you are choosing a degree, make sure you look into all the course module, look into what are the available electives, and only you decide on what degree you want to go to. And different universities, say biotechnology degree, their electives may be different. Yeah.
True.
So yes. So I hope that answers your question. All right. So Golden, thank you very much for asking. We have a question from Hasmi. Hasmi's question is, how do I know if doing PhD is right for me? I'm taking this question because the next thing we are going to discuss about is actually on career in biotechnology, right? So how do I know if doing PhD is right for me? Yeah.
Okay. So short answer is I don't know. You need to make for your own decisions. So I can talk about my own experience, like why I decided to do a PhD. So of course, I look at the job market in Malaysia. I look at the job market around the world. What is I want to stay in science career. I want to do science, whether it's an industrial, academic, company, startup, whatever. I want to do science. So in order for me to hold a higher position in the scientific industry, you need a doctorate. You need your credentials.
That's right.
I'm a university graduate. I got my bachelor's. The best that I could do is probably a technician. Right? I run experiments for people.
Work in the lab, right?
Yeah, work for the lab. It's not necessarily a bad thing. To be honest, it's not necessarily a bad thing. And it's extremely important for every lab to have the technician to know what they are doing. Because that takes everyone's time and is very valuable.
That's right.
So if that is what you want, and in fact, some people actually use technician as their stepping stone.
Yeah.
Get experience to get exposed to research work before they jump into higher positions. So there are a lot of different ways of doing it. But for me, I feel like PhD is probably something that allow me to do what I want. I get to have more say on the topics that I want to do, the experiments that I want to do, and at the same time I get to I get the doctorate credentials, who we call a doctor. So I think it's a win-win for me, and I do believe having a doctorate will help.
Yeah.
Eventually, when I got into the scientific industry. Okay. Yeah.
So I think my take to sum it up is if your objective is like Boon, right? You want to be on the highest level of in the scientific arena, right? And you want to be working in science for a long time for your career, then PhD may be the way to go because credentials are important, right? But if you are looking into doing trading business, right? If you're looking into things that are more business-based accounts and things like that, maybe a PhD may not be as important compared to working experience. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good take from you, Boon. There are so many questions from students. Honestly, I mean, Boon, you can scroll down and have a look yourself. We will try to answer each and every question, and all questions are really long. They are like mini paragraphs. But yeah,
I hope I can help.
Yes.
I hope I can help. But sometimes don't trust too much on the stranger on the internet.
but don't worry, Boon. I mean, I think they know what they are expecting, the audiences. It's really to get an insight and input from just another point of view, and we hope all of you understand that Boon is just doing his best from scientist, a PhD student, a science researcher perspective, trying to answer your question. Okay, let's enter. Let's talk about something that is more realistic, right? We study biotechnology, we do synthetic biology in this science field in biotech. What are the career opportunities like in both in Malaysia and abroad? Maybe we start with abroad first.
Okay,
Yeah.
we can start with abroad first. The moon overseas always more. What is that? More rounder.
Rounder. Yeah.
Okay, so abroad, we're talking about just the closest one, Singapore. I mean, Singapore have a couple of different institutions that focus on biological research on its own, and there's a lot of bio startup, biotech startup, coming out from Singapore as well. One of them being artificial stream meat. That's pretty interesting. So you might have heard about artificial meat, those kind of thing. There's one startup in Singapore is doing artificial stream. Yeah. So that is a big industry in biotech, right? If you're interested, go look out for that. Yeah. Okay, abroad, let's talk about Singapore. Yeah, like I said, they are startup, they are research institutions. So if you hold a PhD, you can actually do a lot of things in Singapore. The same to UK, Australia, US, or EU in general. Because if you talk about developed country, they definitely have the incentives and they have the resources to pour money into R&D, to research and development in general. Yeah. And then they see it as an opportunity to boost their economics. Yeah. They see it as a high risk, high return investment. Yeah. So, which is why they are willing, not just the government are willing to put in the money, but the business side, the venture capitals, the investors are also willing to put in all this money into biotech startup, which most of the time fails. Okay, let's be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, and so in terms of opportunities, at this age, at this climate, biotech, I would say, is so interesting. There's so much things going on. We just remember the conversation we had yesterday. Let me give you an example. One thing that Microsoft and Google is doing at the moment, right? We heard about the storage problem, right? The cloud storage. So cloud storage doesn't happen in the cloud. We need, you need containers, you need columns, you need all the electricities to store your data, right? And they are looking for land, they are looking for electricity, they need to save power. There's a lot of problems regarding data.
Right.
One solution, one potential solution to store data is using DNA. So how the hell do you store data in DNA? Okay, so data at the moment is being stored in binary, right? 10001100. You don't know about binary, go read it out. So basically, they just tried basically how you store data. The byte, the megabyte, those kind of things that you heard, those are the 10001. Those things that are being stored in as the data. DNA, if you have gone through SPN biology, pretty sure DNA is formed by ATCG, 4 different nucleotides. Because at this stage, we can actually synthesize DNA as we want, right? So, human, we have DNA, but then the DNA follow a specific code. So, But for us, especially in the field of synthetic biology, we can synthesize the DNA with the sequence with what we want. Basically, we control what goes into the DNA strands. So Microsoft, Google, they have an idea. So what if instead of writing 10001 as data, you write ATCG, CATG, TACG, and store it as data. And one thing about DNA is because it's so small. I mean, in your cells, one human cells has 3 times 10 to the power of 9 of nucleotides in it. And that amount of data, so let me give you an example. I don't have a well now. So about this size of solution, right? I can store the entire human history more than 3 times in like this size of solutions. Freaking amazing. But the problem is you can't store data. So when we think about cloud data, right? One thing is to store. Another thing is to retrieve data. You need to get your data back sometime, right? The problem with DNA storage is how you retrieve those data, because you need the lab, you need different instruments to get those data out again. And that is the scientific questions that people want to answer. How do you make it more efficient? How do you make it into, commercialized? How do you commercial it? Yeah, that's how interesting it is. This are the sort of things that big corporations are doing as well, because if they manage to find a breakthrough, it costs a lot of money.
Yeah. And if the breakthrough happens, it's going to disrupt so many industries. Yeah. The Amazon cloud system, all the data centers are going to be converted into condominiums.
Exactly.
The potential is there, right? So you see, what I see as what you mentioned is biotech is like studying computer science, right? And computer science is developing, writing codes to develop solutions, software for humanity, right? And biotechnology is the same thing. Like, instead of writing codes, you are using science to solve humanity issues.
Yeah, you actually do DNA code. So it's some sort of code, right?
Yeah, DNA codes, right? And it will only be successful if you get to monetize it, you get to commercialize it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And this is all about business at the end of the day, even in the field of science, right? So, Boon, how about career opportunities in Malaysia? Because I can say 100% of our audience here today is from Malaysia, maybe 99%, to benefit of the doubt, right? So, what about the career opportunities for biotechnology in Malaysia?
Okay, so. Well, as we all know, when we see a lot of news, well, we don't see a lot of news about biotech in Malaysia. That's the problem. But actually, in 2009, there are a lot of different policy being introduced to encourage people to take biotech. But eventually, it's kind of disappeared because the investment doesn't go through. And also in Malaysia, there are a couple of different organizations such as Biotech Corp, who form a lot of different incentives and a lot of different programs to encourage, overseas international company to set up a hub, research hub back in Malaysia. One being BioXcel in Johor. It fails, so it's not a good. It doesn't represent good business. Basically, it start losing a lot of money. It doesn't get enough revenues. It can't go on, but it did happen. So the reason, okay. Short answer, career in biotech in Malaysia. If you are an undergrad, so if you hold a degree, biotech degree, and then you're not thinking about further study, what you can do is a lot of sales jobs, sales and distribution, and technician, like I say. So there are different biotech, international big biotech companies, such as Appendov, that have their hub in Malaysia. And when they do, they need people that knows about biology, that have biological knowledge to do all the sales, to do all the introductions, to get client. So you need to have a good understanding about biology to get those positions. And sometimes the pay is pretty good, because when you talk about sales, you get commissions, right? So it's just another skill that you need to learn.
Right.
On the other hand, there are also some research institutions. We know about cancer research. There are cancer research in Malaysia, and also like big corporations such as Sime Darby, who run a lot of internal in-house R&D for palm oil, rubber, all those stuff. So there
Yeah.
are something going on. But if you're thinking about big things like about startup, man-made meat, artificial meat, artificial streams, those kind of things, because it's new, you don't have a precedent, you don't have examples that happened before in Malaysia. It's a chicken and egg problem. If you don't have it before, government is not going to invest in it. Investor in Malaysia is not going to invest in it, right? So you need to bring back. I do know some people who start doing something back in Malaysia, try to bring up the environment, the ambient of doing biotech research in Malaysia. And in fact, it is a good idea. It is also something I plan to do in the future. And I do hope with some help, we can bring up the research culture in Malaysia, and hopefully attract more talents to stay in Malaysia to do R&D.
Speaking about that, we want this conversation to be as honest as possible, right? And yeah, Boon, what you're mentioning is exactly what's happening right now today. There are companies out there that are doing research, but there aren't many. But there are more opportunities on sales and marketing roles in biomedical pharmaceutical companies, right? But of course, when you are coming back to Malaysia soon, right? And of course, you are a JPA scholar, and
I am a JPA scholar.
That's right. And I remember you telling me you're not only a JPA scholar for your degree, but also for your postgraduate as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a long bond with JPA.
So how long is that? Is that like 100 years?
Well, definitely not in 100 years, but yeah. So my degree, I did my degree for 3 years. Somehow the bond is 4 years, and then for my PhD is 1 to 2 years. So 4 years of PhD equal to 8 years of contract. But I have to say JPA now is more flexible. The main intention is to get people back to go back to Malaysia and work, and that is my intention too. So it used to be, you must work with the government, and if it's about working in the government, then it's probably about working at university, become a lecturer. It's not really what I want to do. So I would definitely argue that. But now you get more options. You get to work in government-linked company, you get to work in GLC, and you get to work in private companies. As long as you discuss with them what you want to go for it, I think they are open for negotiation. As long as as far as what I heard. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, guys, if you are interested in the scientific research field, I hope what we mentioned just now did not demotivate you, because I think we are still an infant. Malaysia is still an infant in this scientific research field, right? It's just like how tech startups are. All over in Malaysia right now today, we have Grab, Foodpanda. We have all these startups that are providing solutions for us today. But it wasn't the same case, say 10 years ago, right? And we definitely need some for front runners, I call them, right? The front runners to kickstart them, and hopefully, Boon, you're one of them to come back to Malaysia to kickstart something. Yeah.
I hope so. No, actually, I just remember something. I think a lot of people are worrying about career. Another options, not a lot of people are talking about, is going into the IP industry. So it's not really a lawyer, but you help assess the IP. So, for example, UM or UTM or UPM, all those research universities, they're doing some cool stuff. They want to apply for a patent. So normally you need someone to assess the patent, or someone in the law firm to assess, to go through all the IPs and come out with a patent, right? And that requires someone with basic scientific knowledge to do so. Right? That is one option. And another option is also quite interesting. I actually have a friend who's in there. So is to help pharma company run clinical trials, right? So like big pharma companies, they actually outsource or contract a company to do clinical trial for them. And because you want to get a lot of data from all around the world if you want to sell the drug around the world. And Malaysia is actually one of the country that is being done, like a lot of company want to do clinical trials in Malaysia because of the diversity that we have.
Yeah.
So we do have some job like about going to deal with clinical trial, which means you need to deal with doctors, deal with hospitals, and then you need to deal with the pharma companies, and that also require you to have a scientific degree to do so as well.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so that's another option. So remember, guys, do not be demotivated. We definitely need more science talents, really, especially in the STEM field. I think the government has been encouraging more people to pick up science because it's like what Boon said, it's a chicken and egg situation, right? If we don't have talents, we'll never have products. But in order to fund the products, we need money, and then it's like, which one should come first? Is it the money first or the product first? So without talent, there definitely be no products. So our recommendation is always still, if you are interested in science and you are good at science, please do science, right? And contribute to the country. And you see, Singapore is doing really well in biotechnology. They do synthetic prawns, the shrimps, right? Prawns. Yeah, so they can do it. Why not us? Right. So let's look into some questions. We have too many questions. And guys, I know we are a little bit out of time. It's 9:11 right now. Are you in a rush, Boon?
Not yet. I mean, my boss hasn't called me yet, so it's fine.
Okay. So let's quickly look into some questions. Okay, let's. All right. So let's take so casual one. Question from Yashini: how did you change your mind from medicine to biotech?
Okay, this is quite funny. There isn't any like change of mind. I didn't get into medical school. I was like, okay, what else? What's left? And then what's left? One of the courses that's left is biological sciences. So I don't. Right. So some university you choose biological sciences, and then in your third year you'll pick a specialties and honors. So you have biotech, you have genetics, you have immunity or something. Yeah, you get a lot of different honors. Then you get your your specializations. So I choose biotech. That isn't a change of mind. It's just there's biological sciences that I quite like biology, so I just.
And you mentioned that you did not got selected while applying through UCAS, right? What was your A-levels result?
I got 4 star. See, result doesn't mean shit. No, I have to say, so I don't write. I think looking back, I didn't write a good, personal statement. And then also for the medical school in the UK, you need to go through an assessment. So for Oxford, Cambridge, UCL, Imperial and Edinburgh is BMAT, and then for other medical schools, it's called UKCAT. So you need to go through this test before you can get accepted in the medical school. I did really bad, and that's the history. The rest is the history.
Okay. But I mean, it's maybe blessing in disguise, and you're enjoying what you're doing right now, and you're doing fine. So question from Huayu. Huayu say, how do you identify which supervisor will be most suitable for you in terms of mentorship style if you're starting fresh in a new place? Thank you.
The best way to do it is talk to the student in the lab, talk to the current PhD student in the lab without the presence of with the supervisor. Sometimes they will complain. So like new students comes in, I would tell them like, you're going to be expecting this from this supervisor. Okay.
Right.
So talk to the current student in the lab. It definitely helps. That's why it's always good to like visit to the lab. If you can't visit, if you are doing like a virtual interview, go through the page of the research group, find a PhD student, send them an email. I'm pretty sure they are very happy to answer your question, right? The main job for us and for the supervisor is to answer people's email. So, just pop a question. If you don't ask, you never know. Okay?
Yeah. Guys, I hope you will stick with us until the end, because we want to be able to answer each and every questions that you have. Okay. So next question is from Yan Chi again. So had a question just now. Like, see, it's really long and it's covering our face right now. Hey, Boon Chuan, I just finished my A levels, so she just completed the A levels and is going to start my degree this September. Due to personal budget reasons, I'm left with biomedical science as my degree option. I initially wanted to do biotech. Is it still possible for me to go into synthetic biology or biotech research? Why budget reasons? I mean, biomedical science and biotech, I don't think it costs much difference, right?
I would say maybe they. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why the prices, the cost is different. But to answer your question, it's no problem. You can do what that. So when you pick PhD, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes, so especially like fields like synthetic biology, like I say, it's engineering in biology. We actually take in students from mathematics, computer sciences, physics, chemistry, all over the world. And in fact, most PhD, maybe not most PhD, but PhD like synthetic biology or biotech, the biological field are more open to people from other industry, other academic background. Right. Why? Because a lot of them is about combining or collaboration with different academic settings. Let me give you an example again. Right, this lab that I'm in now is actually more of an engineering lab rather than a biological lab, but they do biological research. What do they do? We heard about 3D printing, right? 3D printer. So you got the printer itself, and then that is actually a 3D printer. The student built that themselves.
Oh.
And so 3D printer, the printing materials are plastics, different sort of industrial polymers, those kind of stuff. But what this lab is doing, they're doing a bio 3D printer. So they use cells as the ink. So if I want to print a layer of cells onto, say, a hydrogel, and then I can use it to do different things, right? So in order for you to do that, you need to have knowledge about 3D printer, which is engineering, and you need to have knowledge about cells, how to keep cells alive, how to maintain, the cells, how to give them nutrition, all those kind of things. So there's a combination of a lot of knowledge from different industry, and biological sciences is probably one of the closest one. If you ask if you discuss about this, we are talking about engineering, physics, mathematics, computer science, and biology. It's a lot of potential.
Thank you. Question from Sam Y. Ong. I think yes, of course, right?
Yeah. Does math? Yes and no. So yes, if no, if you're not gonna pick. So what I do now, if I want to do mathematics, if I want to do modeling, so a big part of synthetic biology is about modeling. How do you predict, how do you predict the function of a biological system, right? So, and a lot of great, grand idea is about, can I not do the experiment, but still get the results? How do I get the results? By modeling, by prediction, by machine learning. So if you're going into that end, then of course you need to have some knowledge on mathematics, how to do modeling. If you're not, like me, I stick to wet lab. I rarely go through machine learning and mathematics, but I do like to learn more about those things because it would help, in the future and make my work easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes and no.
Yes and no. Right. What are the other options in the field of biotechnology after masters, if not PhD? Work. Right?
I think it's a bit about like what we discussed just now. If you're going into the job field, there are a couple of different things. Actually, in Malaysia, a lot of company doesn't want you to have a PhD. If you have a master, great. If you have a PhD, you're kind of scared of them because they will expect to pay you more. It's a huge cost for them. So if you're not actually doing R&D, they don't want to hire a master's. They don't want to hire a PhD, sorry. But if you're actually doing science-related job, they will actually prefer a master's because you know more and you have more experience.
Right. Next question is Cordelia, from Cordelia. And her question was it difficult to cope when you continue a PhD without master's?
For me, not really, because I have I don't have a lot, but I have a couple, research experience. I work in my so for my final year of my degree, we need to do a research project. But with that research project, I first get to expose in the lab by doing actual research work. And then after I graduate, I also spend some time to do as a research intern for my previous supervisors. So I get enough experience for me to go in a PhD program without a master's. And if you're worried, so what the program that I'm currently involved in is a 4-year PhD program. The first year is actually 2 to 3 different labs rotation. So you spend 3 months in a lab, you spend another 3 months in another lab. Eventually, you make a decision which lab you want to go to do your PhD. So there are this sort of program which allow you to experience, not just experience the lab, the people, but also to do some work before you go into it for the next 3 years.
Interesting. There's another PhD related question by Hui Shi Saw. She wants your opinion on whether to have more exposure on the industry before doing postgraduate or starting a PhD right away. What's your take?
So if we're talking about my take, it doesn't really matter. If your worry is about, you are too late or you're too old when you get into your PhD program, that's pretty much nonsense, because I have people about 30 in my batch when I first got in 24. So, age is really not an issue. If you want to do a PhD, you can do it whenever you want. Okay. Yeah. But having industrial experience definitely help, right? If you get internship opportunities, it helps a lot. I would say it helps a lot. It makes you understand how, the experience. I think we can talk about experience, right? You know about how these instruments work. You know how to use this equipment. These are all very important and very valuable in experience. In biology, there are a lot of different gadget, machine that you need to learn. You need to go through proper training to use. So having those experience beforehand, it gives you a huge advantage, right? It gives you a huge advantage.
Right. Okay, thank you. The next question is a little interesting, right? So it's from Chi Zhengyu. Do you have to have super good results in my subjects in high school? For example, biology, if I want to become a scientist?
The short answer is no, right? There are all sort of different scientists.
Yeah.
You have physics, you have chemistry, you have you have biology, the three main, and then you have computer scientists.
Yeah.
There are a lot of different STEM subjects that you could do, and it's good to have a good result that gives you an entrance ticket to go into a lot of good the best institution in the world. Having good result is just an entrance ticket to the interview. Okay, if you don't have a good result in biology, physics, and chemistry, but you still want to go into become a scientist in this field, I will first ask myself, right, why do I don't get the good result that I want or the required results to get into this course? Is it because this doesn't interest me, or is it because I don't understand enough? And if it's later, if I don't understand enough, do you want to spend more time to understand it before you step into it? And the term scientist, again, is very broad. And if you still want to go into this phase without the good results, fair. Go through coding, go to software programming, learn more about computer scientists, because all this industry have one similarity is that we need good computer scientists to help us with a lot of different stuff. Another example, we heard about AlphaGo, right? Made by Google. Yeah, AlphaGo that beat the chess. What is that? Weiqi. What's Weiqi?
Weiqi is Go.
That beat Go in the Korean, right? Google recently come out with AlphaFold. So what is AlphaFold? Folding is actually one of the most important process in protein. So protein is also a strand, but before they can perform all sort of different function. So one common example of protein is enzyme. So what enzyme do? Enzyme basically help you digest. Okay, one of the one of the purpose of enzyme is helping you to digest. Right. So from a strand to become a folded enzyme to perform their function, they need to go through the process of folding. But folding is there is they go through a specific model, but it's very hard to predict. For example, today, if I want to make a new protein to digest plastic, that's how you remove plastic, right? We couldn't find it. If we want to find it in the nature, then we need to test out a lot of different things. But if I have AlphaFold, I put in plastic, help me build an enzyme to digest this plastic. Then machine learning, the computer power can help me build a model that can digest the plastic. How cool is that? So you don't need to know about chemistry, biochemistry, or biology. You need to know about coding, like how to make the prediction accurate, how to make the folding accurate.
That's right.
So you got to answer.
Yeah? Right. Yeah. So, but also to make sure if you want to do research and science for that particular area, then you must be really good at it, right? So if you want to research in biology-related matters, then your fundamentals should be strong.
Yeah, exactly. Just an example, before you know how to put your coding in, you need to know how basic enzyme work, right? Because otherwise you can't put in, the learning data for the machine to do their work. So you need both.
That's right. That's right. We have a couple more questions. I'm trying to go through each and every one of it. Okay. So so I won't be reading out questions which we think have been addressed through our conversations earlier. All right. So if you would like to know more about it, you can always rewatch the replay later on. Okay, so we have a question from Leong Y Yi. This is a little bit more on admission basis. Admission question. Is the place for a PhD as an international student as competitive as the place for an undergraduate degree? I think she's talking about getting into Oxford, right? Yeah.
If it is getting into Oxford, because I didn't do my undergrad in Oxford, but from what I heard, it's pretty it's also very competitive. I think both are quite competitive. In their own sense, but I would actually say it's easier to get, not necessarily easier, but for me it's easier to get in as a postgrad, as PhD, because I understand the subject more. I have an idea what I want to do. I go through a lot of different like interviews, speaking. I'm more confident about talking, expressing myself. I couldn't do that when I was, fresh out of KDU, finished my A-level. And those require, a lot of practice as well. So for me, going into PhD is much more easier than going through degree.
Because I think getting into top schools like that, everyone has good results, right? And you need to be a differentiator. What's your differentiator, right? I think what you meant was it's equally hard to get in, but because you have grown older, slightly wiser, and then you have a little bit more experience, and you have your opinion, and hence you are able to handle the interview admission process better.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, right. So our next question is really interesting, right? So question from Ong Ni. What advice would you give to a recent biotech graduate that have bad grade? Because I felt discouraged to continue to do science due to the current market. Wow. Yeah, I mean, economy is bad, and we're all locked at home, and then doing science is, especially in R&D, right? When economy is bad. What is more important? Is revenue more important, or spending for a new product more important? Because spending for a new product is R&D, and that is a risk there. So companies may want to reduce risk, right? Yeah. So what's your take, Woon?
Actually, first, to answer your question, right? During crisis like this, doesn't it make biotech graduate more, valuable? Because even when I'm in the UK, I got message from, I think, my friends or my relatives telling me like, the hospital is hiring, people with biology degree to do the testing work, and the pay is all right, it's okay, but you get a job, at this climate. So
Yeah.
I think it really depends on how you look at it. For me, the company that I know or people around me,
Yeah.
this crisis actually just showed you that how important biotech is, right? How
Right.
important medical biology, biological sciences is, in whether it's job market or at a national level or international level, because you need all these people, even just with basic skills, to handle the sample, to handle the test kit, to figure out whether this person is, is positive or negative for coronavirus. You need people to do that. And even if you have a bad grade, do you have experience in running in the lab, in handling all this equipment and stuff in the lab? If you do, what they probably do in Malaysia is, right, you got the, experience, go through short training, and then you start working, right? There are still opportunities, but also you need to know, with just a degree, you're probably going to do the same thing again and again. Like the testing kits, we're talking about thousands of things coming in, and you need to do the, liquid transfer all the time, the same thing again and again. And yeah, these are the things that you expect, you're expected to do.
That's right. Okay. The next question is right. So Yanchi was saying I can't go overseas and have to study locally. Yeah. Yanchi was the one who mentioned biotech and biomedical science earlier. Right, Yanchi, if I think a lot of students here face this kind of problem. I think what you can do, Yanchi, is perhaps drop us a PM and let us know what's your situation, and perhaps we can offer you some options and solutions, right? So next, there's so many questions. All right, so
if I can help, I'm happy.
Yeah, another question from Kim Jun, right? So studying undergraduate actually doesn't have very much chance to do small research.
Very true.
Yeah,
very true. So even for me, I only get to work in the lab for my final year project. But some of my friends, I didn't do it because I wasted a lot of time. But some of my friends, before the final years, they actually start applying for like internship opportunities within the university. Like you can email a supervisor, tell him that, I'm interested in what you're doing. Can I, just follow you and take a look around the lab and do some stuff, do some easy stuff. If the supervisor is free, they're happy to help students. You need to ask. The opportunities, you need to look for it. You can't wait for the opportunities to come to you.
Yeah. Last student questions that we are addressing tonight is from Justin Fiddler. What are the most employable skills in R&D lab, in your opinion?
What are the most employable skills in R&D lab? For me, problem solving, definitely. So, and that comes from a lot of, that requires a lot of background knowledge, theoretical experience. For example, if you're in the industry, it's all about problem solving, right? I give you, my objective is to make a drug that is more efficiency to deliver in human body. Let's put it that way. How do you do it? You need to know about, how do this drug react when it's entered the human body? Does it enter through, your stomach, or does it enter through your bloodstream? And what is the reaction between, your blood cells and the drug? So when it comes to this, there is a lot of theory behind it, but eventually it's about how do you solve this problem. And how do you solve this problem is what sort of experiment that you need to do. So it comes all around, like your lab skills, your problem solving, your theory about that subject, and how do you execute them. And those are all valuable, and people are looking for that. Employers are looking for that.
Awesome. Wow, we have talked about science for 90 minutes, man. Can you believe it? Yeah, Tell me a movie. We are as long as a Hollywood movie, you know. Right.
It helps. I mean, it
Yeah.
really it really does help people. I'm glad, and
Yeah.
I do hope more people can understand, feel cool stuff happening. Oh,
So, guys, if you think it's helpful, you think what Boon said is helpful, please leave a comment in the comment section below and let us know. Okay, Boon, I purposely leave this question at the end because if for students who stay until the end, we know that they are really interested in this area in scientific research, right?
Mm.
So, what, in your opinion, what do you think students can do now, especially during this lockdown? To if they are interested in scientific research, what,
Mhm.
what can they start learning themselves first to prepare themselves? Yeah.
How do you prepare yourself for something?
Yeah.
So, good thing you're staying at home now. If you're staying, well, you might not be staying at home. School is opening, but if you're
Yeah.
staying at home, good thing about Google and YouTube, you get to learn almost everything on the internet. Even
Right.
for me, like when I have problem, I don't go to my supervisor. I go to Google, right? I ask question in Google, and I get my answer. So
Right.
you could first expose yourself to some of the cool things that are being done. They are not necessarily like research articles, but they are more like journals, news articles that tell you, oh, these are the top 10 biotech discovery in the past few years. Those kind of things. Get an idea what is happening, and if certain things interest you, you might want to go a little bit deeper to understand what is it about. And you will find out eventually it's all about basic biochemistry, right? It's all about enzyme, it's all about DNA, it's all about protein, how they work in different setting, in different way. So
Right.
this is something you can learn, but you are tired of learning, you want to do something. If you want to do something, is for biological sciences is very hard because you need a lab, you need proper instruments and apparatus to run experiments, right? Which something that you could do is start learning about like modeling, like what sort of programmings or what sort of skills will complement or enhance your chance to get into, say, a PhD project, right? If you say you can code really well, you have been in this project and you use your coding skill to solve this problem, you are probably one of the top applicants and among everyone else. And these are the things that you can start learning very, very early on. Because coding, me myself, I did a little bit coding back then. It's it's about problem solving. Again, it's about problem solving. It's about using logic to solve problem efficiently, right?
That's
you just need to know how to do it. You just need to know how to execute it. And the best way to do it is start doing it.
Yeah, I mean, start doing something like what Boon said. Watch more YouTube videos about science.
Videos, yeah, that's YouTube videos. That's interesting.
Yes, and find something interesting. Go deeper, right? So before we end our session today, I want to say, Boon, thank you so much. But before I let you go, I have a quick fire Q&A session that we play with all our guests. Okay. Any guest, right? So last week's program we had a politician, which was YB Hanayo, a member of parliament for Segambut, and she was discussing with us her career in politics, right?
I'm from Segambut, actually.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so this quick fire Q&A may have some, may trigger some of your thoughts, and I want you to answer it fast because it's quick fire, right?
Okay.
So question number 1 is, would you rather have a lot of money or a lot of knowledge?
A lot of money.
Okay, that's a choice. That's good.
Do I need to like elaborate, or do I just give?
Well, if you want to elaborate.
No. I think I personally, if you don't know what to follow, like me, like I choose medicines just thinking that it is a good job. It could earn me a lot of money. Before I start doing research about doctors in Malaysia, if you look more into it, there are a lot of problems around being a graduate, having a medical degree, in Malaysia. There's a lot of problems because you have a lot of medical schools. You don't have enough housemanships positions for all these doctors. I don't know all about this. I only know about this after I get rejected by medical schools. And one thing, if you don't know what to follow the money. That expose you to a lot of more information. Because if you want to earn big money, you need to know about the market. You need to know about what's the problem worth solving, right? Why is Amazon worth so much? What is Tesla and SpaceX worth so much? Because they are solving a problem that people think that it is worth solving, right? So you need to learn a lot about this, and you can use money to do research. Exactly. And this comes hand in hand. If you are solving a great question, people are willing to put in the money. And in order for you to start, doing the research, you need to have your qualifications. So it all comes hand in hand.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's your choice, and I think it's valid because money is not everything, but money is important. Number two, I know you're in UK right now. Okay, and UK COVID isn't the best, right?
No.
COVID situation. I mean, it's Europe, right? The center of the pandemic. If you can go to one place now, anywhere in the world, where would you go?
I just want to go home. I just want to take a break. Home in Malaysia. Yeah, it'd be great.
Go back to Malaysia. Go meet your parents.
You don't need to cook. You don't need to do this and that.
Yeah.
Take a break.
Okay. All right. Good. You want to go home, and I really look forward for your return late next year. All right. Number three is to be paid well but not happy, or paid low. I mean, having a low pay but really happy.
If it's the next 5 years, I will go for paid well, not happy.
Okay.
And then I can move on to whatever I want once I get the money. Yeah.
Right. So short term, you will go for the money first. Yeah. And you think you can just tahan it out, right, for 5 years.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. What's your favorite?
Two options, right? I mean, there are only two options. I mean, let's not go deep into that.
Yes. All right. So, what's your favorite subject in university?
It's my favorite subject in university. Right. Short answer. I don't really have a favorite. I have to say, like, I spend my university time, right, pretty much relaxing, because I think I worked really hard for my SPM. I know I need to get the scholarship. I want to get the scholarship, so I worked really, really hard. After high school, right, after Chonghua, I never spent so much time like reading and studying for my exam anymore. So so for my degree, it's more about like, okay, is this cool? If it's cool, then I will do it. I still study. It's not like I don't study for tests. I still pass all my tests. I still get good grades. That's fine. But in terms of like what interests me the most, I'm always looking. Like, I'm always trying out different things when I was in university. I'm still always trying different things now, which is I encourage everyone to do. You get exposed to a lot of interesting things, like all sort of interesting things. Yeah. And then you will know. For, let's say, a friend of mine, also a PhD, then they would tell me, oh, there's a cool project. They asked me about my opinion, and I was like, oh, cool. Can I join you guys? If you don't have the knowledge or qualification, then they would say no, right?
Yeah.
So you need to. So at the end of the day, you still need to have experience and qualification, knowledge and theory, in order for you to join all this cool stuff. But first of all, expose yourself to all these things that get you a lot of different opportunities.
That's right. Even though you said you didn't study in your degree, I heard you graduated with a first class honors.
No, I did graduate from a first class. It's not like I did study for my degree. I did study. I need to emphasize. I study for my test. Okay, I do study for my test. I just don't put in as much effort as I was in SPM. Okay? I think the most effort I put in, when it comes to studying, like reading books and memorizing, is SPM. There's no competition. Okay? There's no competition.
Yeah. Okay. What is your favorite thing to do in Oxford?
Favorite thing to do in Oxford? Just chilling, hang out with friends. Just probably do. It's a small town. There's nothing too many things to do. yeah, chilling, eating with friends. That's probably the best thing.
Okay.
In the park, but we can't really go to the park now,
Yeah.
and it will start raining. So yeah, chilling with friends.
The last one. One research breakthrough you wish to achieve in your lifetime.
What research breakthrough I wish to achieve? Dang. Huh. Go back to the money question, right? A research breakthrough that bring me a lot of money, that can bring me a lot of revenues. Okay, if that makes sense.
Okay.
There are a lot of questions to be answered, and when you don't know what to do, when I don't know what to do, then I would try to see like, okay, is it valuable? So the reason why I start doing that is because I start joining a lot of different startup activities. I actually have my own startup company, spin-off from Oxford, coming out next month, and even the stuff that we're doing now from COVID-19, we form a social enterprise to commercialize all the product, like I mentioned in the beginning, and getting exposed to all of this stuff let me understand about, I need to learn about the market, I need to learn about the law, the tax, the regulations, the IP, all of this stuff. Those are all, learning processes, and with that, there's a saying that if your problem is too expensive to solve, then it's not worth solving. Right? So the worst solution is the current solution. People don't have to change; they can still do what they do now. Maybe spend more time, spend more money, but it's too, they can't stick to what they want to do. So when you introduce new things, new technologies, new product, you need to learn about all of this market, the end user behavior, all of this stuff before you start putting your heart and sweat and tears in to try to start a company or start a new product. So I think I learned a lot about this during the past few years, and it's definitely something I would probably do. No, not definitely. It's probably something I would do when I graduate as well, and hopefully we can bring something back in Malaysia and do something there.
Awesome. Right. Something that make Malaysia proud. Great. I felt like this, wow. This is, we broke the 1 hour, 100-minute mark. I felt like I spent 100 minutes in Boon's brain. Thank you so much, really so much for your time, for really sharing with us and, being really honest and, being open with your ideas and, you didn't make it look like it's very beautiful, but it's just honest opinion, straight to the point, and I really love it. So, Boon, do you have any last final advice that you would like to give young Malaysians out there?
Final advice. I scared to give you advice. My advice: don't listen to random strangers on the internet. But advice. People like to say like do what you love. At the end of the day, money is not important. For certain, to some extent, that is true. You should be doing something that you enjoy doing. And for me, I'm extremely fortunate to be in this position to not just solve problems, global problems, but also doing something that excites me almost every day, even though it's very tiring. But at the end of the day, right now, I don't need to worry about money. Sometimes I would have to, and for a lot of you, a lot of the students, at some point, you need to worry about money too. So when reality kicks in, there are a lot of trade-offs that you need to make. But if you really like something, like science, you might not get the opportunity now. It might come back, a few years later. My friend in the same research group as me, he's about 30. He actually worked in chemical engineering, company in Australia before he come to do synthetic biology PhD for like 4 to 5 years. So you see, as long as you keep learning, equip yourself with knowledge. Okay, maybe when reality kicks in, you might not have time to do so. But if you really like it, right? If you're saying like, choose money or choose passion, if you're really passionate about it, then I would expect you to spend some time to learn more about the subject, to learn more about what's going on around the world. And if your opportunity doesn't come now, it might come later. And when it comes, you want to grab it. And it doesn't come, you want to look for it. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably what I would say. Then
Yeah,
listen
that
to
is
strangers,
that
man.
is some awesome piece of advice from some random strangers on the internet.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Boon. And ladies and gentlemen, I have been speaking to Lim Boon Chuan. He's a fellow Malaysian, currently doing his PhD in Oxford in synthetic biology. He's also part of the research team who is researching on a rapid diagnostic kit on COVID-19. And Boon Chuan, it's been an honor speaking to you. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope all of you had learned something today. If you have any questions related to Boon, perhaps you can actually drop us a DM and we will direct the questions back to Boon. And if you have any questions related to further studying, we have any questions related to about career choices, you can also always speak to our counselors, all right? You can just DM us, all right? So remember, like us on Facebook, just regarding where are you from, whether you are from Study Hub Studio Advisory or watching from JS Study Solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching with us 1 hour and 45 minutes. Wow.
Thank you very much. I didn't expect
Thank you.
myself to
Thank you,
speak so
Boon.
long.
Bye-bye. Have a good
Bye.
evening. See you.
Goodbye. See you. Thank you.